What's up, tricksters, and welcome to the final episode of Chamber to Radiant series, a series where I'm teaching you my best Radiant tips, tricks, and strategies for Chamber. Last episode we finished with 281 rank rating, and today I'm gonna showcase you that even if you don't have aims such as Horcus, with good game knowledge, decision making, and tactics, you can easily reach the highest rank in Valorant, even with a highly mechanical agents. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me down in the comments and join my Discord server for private coaching, because there you can also access the Chamber ranked playbook with all of my strategies and setups for every single map, which is gonna help you a lot to unlock his full potential. Other than that, let's see with what win rate we're going to end this epic journey. Welcome to my show. Today we're starting on Ascent, and we ended up in a very weird 3 versus 4 push through market.
30 seconds
Almost
left.
Can you smoke switches?
Last player standing. Spike down.
The main tip for this clip is that whenever you end up in a numbers disadvantage, your main goal is to create favorable 1 versus 1 gunfights before enemies maybe activate their brains and they start fighting together. You don't want to wait for them to peek you should be the one bringing the fight to them. Also, this is one of the main mistakes that you can exploit in ranked. 80% of times players are not going to play a proper refrag game.
One enemy remaining.
This spot on B site is probably the best angle from which you can fight when enemies are engaging you from speedway. All you need to do is hide, pay attention on the sound, and as soon as they drop, Jetteroni Killeroni. But charlatan, why did you position in this shit spot after the plant? Basically, I was gambling that these high elo players would think that I'm smart enough to not play this one and done angle in a 1 versus 2 situation. It could have backfired, but with 9 HP in a 1v2 post plant, you need to pull out some crazy plays in order to win. By the way, let me convince you one more time why you need to master Outlaw in order to rank up faster.
Left some.
Basically, whenever you see that 3 or more enemies don't have enough money to purchase a heavy shield on attack, they have less than 3,800 credits, you force Outlaw and become a body shot berry. Also keep in mind that this weapon is a great force buy on defense when you don't have enough money for Vandal or Phantom. But let's be honest, nothing beats the old good Elo stick. Here I'm holding this off angle, which I use to counter Omen and Jet players that like to climb these double boxes in every round. It's a great angle to counter enemies that like to behave as a monkeys in the mid area of Ascent. But if nobody gets on these high angles for 5 or 6 seconds, mission abortimus. Time to reposition and use your teleport to fight enemies elsewhere. But before we continue, let me teach you how you can deal with lag and in-game stuttering with the help from LegoFast. This software allows you to automatically optimize your PC and internet connection in order to have the absolutely best performance for Valorant. But they also support more than 2,000 games with many optimized servers around the world. Simply select the game that you're playing and find the most optimal route for your internet. Also, with the FPS boost features, you can optimize your CPU and GPU for the best in-game performance. There are also some other cool features such as custom crosshairs, which you cannot make directly in Valorant. So if you have high ping, packet loss, or you are experiencing some in-game stuttering, LegoFast might be the right solution for you. All you need to do is click on the top link in the description, download the software and install it. You can create a free account and get 24 hours free trial to test it out. And if you decide to subscribe to LegoFast, you can use my coupon code COACH to get 30% discount. Now is the time for 3 quick Radiant tips. Numero uno, Ascent is a fast rotation map where you should always prioritize team play over the map control. On the first contact between yours and enemy team, you can make some kind of a move. For an example, rotate a bit faster and prioritize the refrag potential, especially if you already made the numbers advantage. But just make sure that enemies can never backstab you, and you need to track the timings on the positions that you left wide open. Numero dos por los hermanos. Always reset your utility when it becomes deactivated or useless. You don't want enemies to see that your trip is deactivated and that you've maybe left a specific area of the map open. Also, we want to use the teleport for as many gunfights as possible during a round. Numero tres leches. You're not Ray Charles, TLDR blind. If you're rotating and you're not fighting enemies, look at the fucking minimap and gather the information so that you can make good game decisions.
Spike down A. One enemy remaining.
While we are waiting for Killjoy to appear, do you know what is one of the main difference between a good and a great Valorant player? Maybe you do, but I don't care, I'm gonna explain anyways. Great Valorant players have a minimal amount of wasted time in their gameplay. They're always active and they always understand why they are doing something that they are doing at that moment of time. There is no autopiloting and the focus is always at 300%, Bobby.
Mid.
Now let's talk about one of the most complex topics. When should you lurk and play away from your team on attack? Apologies again. In ranked, you usually want to rely on this playstyle when team play is not working at all, or if you have a very good read onto enemies. For an example, in this game, enemies were always throwing early recon utility for A main, and as soon as we made some kind of a contact on the opposite side of the map, they were all doing instant rotations. So I simply dodged their util and decided to go on to this solo adventure. But keep in mind that whenever you lurk in ranked, you need to be 100% certain that your teammates are going to listen to your callouts and that they're not going to die like a potatoes before you backstab the enemies. It's always a bit of a gamble in ranked, especially in lobbies below Immortal 3. Thus, only 5% of times you should be relying on this playstyle in order to win the rounds on attack.
One enemy remaining.
Here I know that enemy Fade is still on the B side, so I've used this trademark in order to eliminate one position through which she can escape from the bomb site. She can still go through the B main, but that rotation is going to take her a lot of time and leave her in a very bad spot for the A site retake. And the reason why I've used the trip for CT is because I can take a very easy kill if she decides to go through B tower ropes, which she does.
It's a shame you had to die, but you are not part of my bigger
Not too shabby, not too shabby. Good time, good timing. Now, if your teammates are already playing on a refrag potential in a 3v3 scenario, you can once again go into some solo adventures in order to surprise enemies. Skibbity-dip-dip-dip-dip.
Spike is down.
30 seconds left.
But if one of them dies and you're left 2 versus 2, you want to immediately reconnect with your remaining teammate and fight together. Okay, here I'm not going to fight alone, but whenever you have the teleport ready, you can take some solo fights as long as you don't commit too much. Just don't die alone.
One enemy remaining.
You see? Refrag potential wins you rounds! Who would have thought about such an advanced 9 million IQ mechanic? Why am I speaking as I'm from Texas, bro? I don't know if Texas people actually speak like this, to be honest, like... Now, this is one of my favorite passive setups on A side of Icebox. You place teleport inside of this corner on top of the screens, and you start the round hiding on tower. Your job is to surprise enemies as they're pushing through belt or A main, or once you think that they might be completely unaware of this peek. You take a kill, teleport, and then from screens try to pick one more safe fight before you commit into some 50-50s, or fight together with your teammates.
So close.
Ew.
Too slow. My ult is ready.
Last player standing. Spike down A. One enemy remaining.
Just a quick observation. Notice how whenever I'm dropping from these upper angles, I'm always masking the drop sound with a bullet. You wanna keep enemies guessing. Is he up or is he down?
think so.
One enemy remaining.
That's 3.
Okay.
Excusez-moi.
Nice. One under, one default.
Teleport's ready.
Still in sight.
Nice. And I think one close city, huh?
Last player standing. One enemy
Under,
remaining.
under.
My turn.
You did the
This
work
is
move
less
with,
than ideal.
it worked.
Okay, listen. You should still aim train and do some proper warm-ups. Obviously, it is important, and every single player that I coach gets some kind of a mechanical routine. Unfortunately, I don't have time for that because my job is to make you improve and to make good content. The last time I did some kind of a mechanical training is in 2022. Excuses, charlatan! But on a serious note, all of the players in these videos are in top 0.03%, and if we can reach Radiant, you can do it as well. Now, even on the attacker side, sometimes it is okay to force Outlaw if you think that based on enemies' positioning or economy, you can get some free kills and win an easy round for your team.
Away with you.
In the previous episodes of this series, I've explained how to master holding these tight angles. I'd appreciate if you hit that subscribe button right now and leave a like, so that you don't miss any future important content for your improvement.
Reyna had Sheriff.
So close.
Now, since we planted a spike and made a huge numbers advantage, there is no reason to play alone. Remember, my friends, to always respect the numbers and abuse any advantage that you can get over your enemies.
One enemy remaining.
That's 3.
Drop in a smoke.
I think I heard him vents, but I'm not sure, man. Don't trust me.
He's been dead like 2 minutes, bro.
By the way, in Valorant, you cannot even trust a Radiant player to hold an angle for you. So always be ready for everything and anything. No, Radiant players are genuinely mentally In this game on Icebox, enemy team thought that I was cheating, so they decided to dodge. I'm cheating with 20% headshot ratio, bro. Like, what?
On pipes. Remind was here.
Bro, can we destroy that?
One enemy remaining.
But hey, maybe they were onto something. Or maybe not. Okay, now let's get back onto some actual tips. On attacker's side, in eco rounds with chamber, you usually want to prioritize Headhunter with a heavy shield if you have money for that shield. In these rounds, you have 3 options in ranked solo queue. You can organize some kind of a 5-man execute with your whole team onto a specific area of the map where eco weapons can actually work. You can also organize some kind of a fake with your teammates to make enemies over-rotate and catch them off guard. Or you can default and try to see if any enemies are going to make some kind of a mistake, or maybe you and your teammates can win some 50-50 duels. Here I simply decided to play default since enemies were extremely aggressive on defense, and I had a feeling that someone is going to overextend. Apologies for my behavior. Now, whenever you're holding medium range, long range, or tight angles with Headhunter, you want to use the ADS for additional precision. Also, you can notice that whenever I'm taking fights in open areas of the map where enemies can peek me from multiple different angles, I'm always using my teleport first for safety and then taking that fight. Just remember that whenever you don't use your teleport to fight enemies and you die, you could have done something better. Here is one very important tip when Clove uses her ultimate.
Out of charges.
In order to win this 1v2 clutch, I've just used my unmatched perspicacity coupled with my sheer indefatigability to make my opponents fear in any realm of human endeavor.
Last player standing. Spike down A. 30 seconds left. One enemy
My ult is
remaining.
ready.
Oh my god. You are so sexy, chamber.
In this round, enemies were executing B-side through mid and I was on a rotation. The reason why I didn't help my fade on tower is because it's very hard to fight on this position with another player. Also, this spot usually gets smoked, molotoved or denied with some kind of utility, and if that happens, my teammates on the bomb site are cooked. Usually you want to rotate on B tower when your teammates are fighting a bit more aggressively. They are fighting from the rafters or there is nobody playing on this position. Just keep in mind that a lot of times you will just get cucked on this spot, especially with operator.
One less.
One enemy remaining.
Behind you!
Spike down B.
What are they doing?
In the following round, I'm using the rule of fear in order to predict enemies and I'm 99% certain that they're going to execute A site. I'm using a passive setup with a default trip on tower because my main goal is to take one kill, bait out enemy Raze ultimate and then play retake with my team. Remember my friends, you don't need to be a hero, you just need to make a small advantage. Also, always keep shorty as your primary secondary weapon, because after you show to enemies that you have operator, they will never expect you playing like this. And finally, whenever Omen uses his ultimate and you have no idea where is he, protect your teammate's anal cavity, but still play close to them so that you can refrag them at any moment of time.
One enemy remaining.
That's three. My ult is ready.
This round was literally a textbook example of how you need to play Valorant in ranked solo queue in order to rank up faster. Now, one very important weapon combo that you need to master with Chamber when you don't have enough money for Phantom or Vandal, especially on Defender side of claustrophobic maps, is Judge plus Headhunters. This combo allows you to have a very tricky playstyle where enemies simply don't know what to expect and you can get quite easy kills. On a map such as Split, if you position properly, you can literally play every single fight to perfection. In this round, I was expecting enemies to execute A site and I expected that either Omen or Raze are going to get on top of the rafters. And that's why I started on this position with this teleport. Once they TP or satchel, I can simply peek out from this rafter smoke, get an easy kill, teleport back and reset myself for the potential fight on ramp. So I started this round by baiting enemies with my Headhunter, but it turns out that I didn't really need a Judge. Just keep in mind that this teleport setup was kinda bad, and with this weapon combo it would have been much better if you placed it down in the vents.
Reloading.
Not committing. Put on.
Two guys! You can notice that on Split most of the times I'm using my trip for either A or B tower, because having this information is extremely important on defense. I would only use bomb site trips when there is no one guarding these two choke points. Also, this is one of the most powerful off angles that you can abuse on A side with Chamber's teleport, especially when you notice that enemies are not using any proper utility to clear it. Coming out, A. One ram. And this is why you should start using Outlaw whenever you notice that enemies cannot afford a heavy shield.
One enemy remaining. Flawless.
Keep in mind, my friends, that every off angle is a good angle as long as you have the teleport available. Also, remember to always reset your teleport once you use it, because it's definitely going to be useful for the future fights. Long.
Too long. One HP Gecko. Both.
One enemy remaining. Spike down B.
Now in this round on Ascent, I'm using one of my favorite eco round setups which you can abuse with any shotgun or close range weapon. Whenever you think that enemies might go A in these eco rounds, you place your teleport in short, wait for enemies to smoke off the switch, and as they are running to close the doors, you pop out, take an easy kill, make numbers advantage, teleport away and reset with your team. But in this round, one enemy decided to lurk through short, so there's no reason to complicate things with a shorty.
Spike planted.
After these 2 kills, I've decided to keep my location a secret and regroup with Sova for a potential surprise, because enemies already feel a lot of pressure that I might be engaging them from the broken doors.
Silence.
Last player standing. One enemy remaining.
Last one is 90.
No one else could do this.
It's literally all about the mind games and team play, my friends. Keep it simple. Now, this is a great off angle in the bind window that you can hold with teleport whenever you see that enemies are not using any recon utility to clear this area of the map. You simply want to replicate the crosshair placement, setup and positioning that I've used in this clip. If this camera sees me, I'm gonna kill myself. Also, always place your trademark for the areas which you and your teammates are not guarding at that moment of time.
My ult is ready.
One enemy remaining.
No! That was such a good ace, man. I guess there's no TikTok clips for me today, but let's take a moment to appreciate the Valorant's precise gunplay. What is this, bro? Like, how did I kill this guy, man? Now, whenever you're playing Chamber as a secondary sentinel and your flank is already covered, feel free to use your trademark as a recon tool when you're taking space on attack.
One less. That's a good sign. So close.
Remember that when you're pushing a set of Icebox, you mainly want to path above your allies through either pipes or 410 generator. Prioritizing this pathing will allow you to play a proper refrag game with your teammates, no matter which fights they decide to take. Also, this push against Killjoy's ultimate was completely unnecessary and stupid, but I had to try getting an ace because of that failed one on bind.
You should run. One enemy remaining.
Half HP, half HP. Now, this round is a prime example that you don't need to be an aim god in order to reach Radiant. You just need to use your brain and become versatile.
Where are you?
One long Skylord.
That's 3.
Here I'm just gonna let you enjoy this 1v2 clutch, and the only thing that I'm gonna mention is that it is completely fine for you to sometimes use the teleport like this in order to avoid any unnecessary gunfights and to reposition safely.
One enemy remaining.
Bro, you're the god?
Did you see their faces?
I mean,
Defenders win.
finally, man.
Yeah, my friend. GG guys, thank you again. Let me see it, finally. Chamber to Radiant. First out of 24 agents that we need to do, maybe in the future 26, 27. Complete them, bro. After 91 game and tons of deaths in the middle of teleport, this is, my friends, the end of the Chamber to Radiant journey! I don't know why I'm so happy I literally got Radiant over 20 times in this game, like... This is also the proof that as long as you're a versatile player with strong fundamentals and good adaptability, you can easily reach Radiant even if your raw mechanics are mediocre for a high elo player. Now, I must admit that this series was not that easy, mainly because of one conundrum of this agent. One of his main strengths is the teleport, to take an initial safe fight, maybe get a kill and then reset for the next one. But this ability also has a problem where it takes a bit too much time to actually teleport. So in lobbies above Immortal 3, where players have really good reaction time and raw mechanics, you will die a lot of times in the middle of teleport, even if you take a gunfight that lasts for 1 second. Because of this inconsistency, I really cannot recommend players to main Chamber after Immortal 3, since there's many better agents that you can play to easily rank up into Radiant, such as Omen for an example. But he is still a very strong pick in low and medium elo lobbies, especially if you feel that your raw mechanics are above average for those ranks. Just always keep in mind that the more versatile you become, the more success you're going to find in a long run. Even if Chamber is your main, you can play him in multiple different ways, where you don't need to always rely on your Headhunter one-tips. Now remember that on my Discord server you can get the Chamber ranked playbook that is going to fully teach you how to master him. Also tell me down in the comments which agent we should do next in this series. Thank you for the support, and I'll see you, my dear tricksters, in some future videos. Cut, baby!